What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Charles, the face of trade tables, and we're back with another video for you guys as usual. And I got a question for you: Is Fiend Smith tracked actually needed in our Yubel decks? So I've been testing a bit, and I have to admit that in all the time that I've been playing since the ban list, Fiend Smith tracked has been an okay card, not great. Playing it at 3 up just for the chance of inc- increasing the chance of starting combo, but I have noticed that post Rage of the Abyss, the Fiend's track seems less useful, and cutting Lori just seems okay. So, and without further ado, the reason why I say that is that have Fiendsmith Saint, which is searchable by the Fiendsmith. It is summons a token. We're gonna read this card real quick so you guys can understand where I'm coming from here. All right. If you control no other monsters or only control monsters or the only face of monsters you control are light fiends, you can special summon a Fiendsmith token. It is a light fiend level 1/0/0. Okay. Um also you cannot declare an attack for the rest of this turn except with fiend monsters, which doesn't really hurt our deck at all because majority of what we play are fiend monsters in this deck. All right, and then it says if a face-up fiend smith monster you control will be destroyed by an opponent's card effect. While this card is in the graveyard, you can set this card. So that effect could potentially come up. It depends on the matchups that you're playing against where that might actually happen. But the reason why I've been thinking about this card is because one, if you guys haven't noticed, our decks are getting bigger and bigger. And I am trying to minimize the amount of cards that we are playing. Also, not to mention, minimize the amount of extensions and cards that are susceptible to hand traps. So, well, explaining this is that Fiendsmith Engraver has to discard to search a Fiendsmith spell or trap, right? Now, if you discard this to search track, track has an effect to search for a light fiend added to hand and discard a card. If your opponent draws you, which I have been testing and people are still playing draw, even with this card being in the game, people are still playing draw. Um, if if you discard this and add this and they draw you, you can play this, which means you cannot extend your combo. And if you had to start with this and added this and your opponent draws you, you're not going to play anymore. Okay? So I started testing this card because post Rage of the Abyss with Lacrima, the Scarlet Sorrow, this card actually now does full combo. You no longer are stuck because you don't have to play Necroquip anymore, and you are continually keeping your light fiends count up in the graveyard, which allows you to still play into your Aerial Eater or even still make your Desiree. All right, so just to give you guys a quick rundown, I have a couple combos that I can show you that I've done. One is basically showing what track does as a combo starter by itself. Another one shows you what track does in combo with Lotus. And then I have a couple little sub combos, one playing through a Nibiru and playing under draw, which is the argument for these cards. So let's go ahead and get started with these combos. All right, guys. So for our first combo, we're just going to show you guys that Fiendsmith Saint is a full combo by itself now. Keep in mind that it is technically a 1.5 card combo. You need to have at least one card in your hand to discard in order to full combo into your Yubel engine. A lot of the reasons you guys are experienced Yubel players is that you need a discard for your Muckracker. So because you need that discard from Muckracker, you have to have one extra card. But with that being said, that means if this is a 5 card hand, you will have 3 other cards in your hand that are usable for any other reason, whether it be hand traps or extenders, anything like that. So without further ado, we'll just go ahead and get started. So Sanct gives you a token. All right, that token becomes your Requiem. Requiem is just gonna go ahead and we're gonna summon you always. So this is like the key thing that you guys gotta know. Post Rage in the Rage of the Abyss, most likely will always be summoning this card from your deck with Requiem, not Engraver, because this card is gonna dump the Engraver. Now, unless this card is already in your hand, which I'm pretty sure this can summon from the hand as well. So, quick effect, yep, summons from hand or deck. So there's almost no reason at all you should ever summon Engraver with Requiem anymore post Rage of the Abyss, is because this card right here is the card you summon and it does it all for you. It sets the whole thing up and it recovers. It makes what could not be possible last format possible. So now this we summon this out and this will dump an Engraver. Engraver will be able to return the Requiem, summon itself, and before at this time, because we had to make a Necro Quip to even get to this card, and we would lose a Light Fiend, this is the reason why Sanct was not playable. Because at this time, normally, what would be in our graveyard if we went with just Sanct would be just the Engraver, which means that we wouldn't be able to do a fusion play. But now that we have Sorrow, Scarlet Sorrow, we can now play Sanct and get to a fusion play. All right, so now we can make our Aerial Eater. Aerial Eater is going to dump our Lotus. And then from here, you know the deal, Muckracker, and we do our full Yubel combo. All right, and this combo is going to end on the typical Muckracker Yubel combo where you're going to have Soul of Rage, Escape. We're going to have, I think we also end on Lotus on field. So like we played a line that makes it, or of course in Phantom, I played a line that makes it so that I'm less susceptible to Evenly and Dark Ruler and Droplets, so that I can play through it and not lose the game. So I personally think this is, no matter what, the optimum combo to do when you have to go into Muckracker to float out your Yubel engine. This is the best, I think, in my opinion, the best line that you can end with, and that is less susceptible to Dark Ruler evenly. You will have the issue of if their opponent opens cards like multiple Regekis or Lightning Storm Regeki. Like those cards can obviously be issues, but you can still try to recover from this. And because you have the Yama in the grave, you still have the option of being able to bring back the Solar Rage and maybe even put your Yubel, Spirit of Yubel in hand if you think that's proper to protect yourself from OTKs and Battle Destruction. So this is definitely, in my opinion, the best combo line to start for Muckracker. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get in to a couple more examples on why I think Sanct is worth playing now over Tract. Okay, guys, so this is Sanct plus Lotus. Notice that these are literally the only 2 cards in the hand. The reason why is that this combo actually plays full through with just these 2 cards. You don't need Muckracker at all, because you have your Lotus in your hand and you play. So I'm gonna tell you, particularly with this line, there are different ways to do it. The way that I've been playing it is to start off with the Sanct, and we're doing this because you're also thinking about the theory of the fact that your opponent is holding Nibiru. This combo can play into Nibiru, but and I will show you guys in another combo right after this that if you play it right, that you put your opponent in a position where they have to Nibiru you at a one specific point, and if they don't, then they lose the opportunity. And if it's the only hand trap in their hand, all right. So let's go ahead and get started with the combo. You start with the Sanct, and then we put the Requiem. So with this particular combo, you're actually going to hold the Requiem there for a as long as possible. Keep in mind, guys, that Requiem is a quick effect, so it means that if somebody tries to drop a Veiler or Imperm on it, you can quick effect tag it out to get your next Fiendsmith card. So messing with it, or if them even trying to nib you, you can quick effect tag it out into a Fiendsmith monster. So keeping the Requiem does not hurt at all. The reason why we go Sanct first is because you have to control either no monsters or only light monsters. And if you play to get to Close Heaven, you literally make yourself completely vulnerable to Nib, and it's not worth it. But if you play this way, then you actually are completely like unvulnerable to Nib, and by the time you get to a point where your opponent can nib you, they have that opportunity. If they don't, then they lose the opportunity, and you'll see here shortly. Okay, so we do the normal Yubel stuff. We're gonna go ahead and pop the spirit, get our squirmer, and then spirit summon Yubel. All right. So at this point in time, normally, this is where my opponent would have to nib me. Okay, and I will show you guys in another combo here shortly. But this, before we summon this, would be the point where if they don't nib me here before I summon this card, then, well, actually, technically, if they don't nib me before I make basically continue the combo, then like it's pretty much pointless. It's absolutely pointless, and I'll show you guys here in a minute. So I play this combo like, right now, thinking, oh, not worrying about Nib. But like at that particular point, if you were worried about Nib, you would have just made this like right away and then finish combo, and you still in the same way. All right, so that's that combo, and we're going to show you real quick here what it looks like if your opponent has the nib in their hand when you're playing this combo. All right, guys, so this is going to be the combo if your opponent has nib in hand, and like I said, the last combo I played it mostly just showing you what the combo does, but here's where we're going to show you that once you get to a specific point, if they don't nib you at that point, if they don't nib you at this point, which is the point that's best to nib, before they could just go ahead and make the Phantom, because once we put Spirit and Lotus and Grave, we can make Phantom. Once you put Yubel and Lotus and Grave, you can make Phantom. So like pretty much all those particular points, you gotta nib there, or the deck just turns the nib off. So once again, you play Sanct first, and you just hold that Requiem there, and you start doing your Yubel lines. So it's at this point right here. Normally, this is the point right here where if they don't nib you here, you just make the Phantom. You make the Phantom, and you just say, all right, no more nib. At this point, if they don't, the last combo, obviously I didn't do that, and so I didn't showcase that that's what's supposed to happen. I'm gonna showcase the fact that if they don't nib you here, right, where you can make the Phantom, then if they do nib you here right before you can make the phantom, that you can still combo off. So like most people are gonna see this like at this point, and it's gonna be like either I nib here or I don't because they already have phantom material in graveyard. So when they nib, you're going to trigger the Requiem, and when you trigger the Requiem, you're going to summon the Fiendsmith, not the Sorrow, because the Sorrow will basically miss timing to dump Fiendsmith into the grave. So you need the Engraver engrave. You don't want to have just Scarlet Sorrow in the grave because then there's not enough recovery. All right. So from here, you bring back the Engraver. Now you can still special the Squirmer. Make because this card specifically just says 2 monsters, including a Light Fiend. You can use the Nib token to make your sequence. Make Aerial Eater. Aerial Eater is gonna dump your Shavara. So what we're doing is we're basically pivoting from the original combo because we open well enough because we open both Lotus and Saint, or 2 starters, whatever how you want to look at it. And now, because we don't need to like just search this and then and do the full combo, we can adapt the combo and just pivot and make it a little bit better. Okay. So we put the escape, we make the Yama. Yama's gonna add that back to hand. We react, and now so we're not gonna be able to make our Desiree because of the nib. So and voila. So with that, we still in even through nib, we still end on escape plus rage, Caesar, and Phantom of Yubel. And the only thing you're gonna have to worry about now is because of the fact that they played the nib, is just worry about potentially Dark Ruler, Regeki, or Dark Hole. Like that's it. No lightning storms, no evenlies. So if you're playing against Tenpai, yeah, you might see Dark Holes, Regekis, but you still have recovery plays. You still can potentially rage pop, escape pop, or rage link because you still have the Yama in the graveyard. All right, so that's just playing, through a nib with Sanct as a card. Now, just a really bonus combo, nothing too great. This is going to show you how we could play if Droll was a factor in the match. All right, guys. So this is specifically if Droll is a factor. This combo is not amazing, so don't get me wrong. I'm still tweaking with it and trying to make sure that I understand everything. But if it's just basically to showcase the fact that if you were searching tracked in this situation, you wouldn't be able to continue playing. But because we're searching Sanct, this is we're able to still actually make a reasonable board that is playable and not lose the game. All right. So if you open Fiendsmith and Lotus, this is what you can do. If it's just Fiendsmith, I can say that your board present won't be as neat, as cool. Like you might be able to set up a Phantom if it's just Fiendsmith, but you're definitely not going to get the full board. Okay, but this is like basically if you have Fiendsmith and Lotus, and they drolled you at the start, you don't worry, you can still make a board into this situation. So you get the Sanct, and so one thing that you keep in mind too is that in a lot of situations, you can hold Prio because there's a lot of cool interactions with the Yubel Fiendsmith deck where you add quick plays, and if unless your opponent has a trigger, they don't have a trigger, you can hold Prio to play a quick play before they play a quick play. So at this point, we're gonna kind of do the typical thing. We cannot search for Nightmare Pain because we're on the draw. We will activate it to put it on board. All right. So with this particular combo, um, we will have to utilize Yama early to get an optimal inboard. So it does kind of suck, which means that we won't have Yama for the crackback on the opponent's turn. But you know, it's better than not having a board at all playing through this draw. Okay. So we dump Engraver and then we link Fusion. Oh, we make our Phantom and then Fusion. We dump Aerial Eater. Aerial Eater once again is going to dump the Shavara, and Shavara will set here. Add the Shavara from Grave because Droll doesn't stop us from adding from Grave, so we can add it from Grave. All right, we make Soul of Rage, and then we're gonna pop it. All right, and so we can take advantage of Aerial Eater's effect in this particular combo, banishing the two Fiendsmith that is in the grave because we started with a Fiendsmith and then we dumped a Fiendsmith, leaving us with one Fiendsmith left. But as long as we have one Fiendsmith still left in the deck, which is I think is fine to play around with Sorrow, I think the deck's still very highly functional. So banishing two Fiendsmith is not the end of the world. We can definitely play with just one for grind game purposes. At this point, we don't have to play with two Fiendsmith, or three Fiendsmith. And then you make Caesar. And so this is the inboard. It's Solar Rage. We have Escape, but we don't have, unfortunately, don't have Yama in the grave anymore. So the biggest hope would be is that we would be able to use the Caesar effect, detaching the Shavara as early as possible, and then potentially, if we have to, rage, we can add the Shavara back for a combo protection or battle protection, anything like that. Excuse me, guys. I'm sorry. It is late on my end. I just got off work not that long ago, and I just had to make this video for you guys before my night was out. So sorry for the yawning. I am tired. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning my time, but I wanted to get this content out to you guys. So just let me know what you think. Is Fiendsmith Saint worth running in your deck? I honestly think it is. I think you guys should give it a try. Let me know in the comment section below. I think, honestly, with cards like this, although it's theory that it might not be played as much, there are still going to be people who are playing it, still going to be people citing it. I don't think Droll is completely out of the meta, but it does conflict with the new Mulch Army, so it might not be as many people playing it. But just in case, I think having this card in the deck over Attract might be the better choice. And this is specifically for Yubel. I wouldn't say that for Snake Eye. I wouldn't say that for Azamina. I think specifically for Yubel, I think Sanct is the better card and easier to run. And it takes up less space in your deck because now instead of running two cards, you just have to run one card to search and no body to draw. So, all right, guys. This is your boy Charles, the face of Trade Tables, and as usual, please like and subscribe. It helps the channel, and we're signing out. Peace.